You can ask me whatever you want. What would you want? What would you want to learn from an interview that you can't just ask me? I'm
Well,
talking
I
to
think
Joe.
I think Joey's point is like
I
having
didn't.
it as content so other people could like watch the VOD or like put some live
Oh,
kind of thing.
Well, I was just
that's
wondering, like, you get everyone else to talk about how they started in the scene, but I don't really know how you started in the scene.
Right. I think it would be interesting to hear your like origins and who like is
Yeah,
influential on your beginnings as a
and you've
man.
definitely been like around enough, like you've gone
yeah,
out of state plenty of times. You've been to a ton of stuff around here.
yeah. Actually, most of the states that I've traveled to in my adult life, I traveled for Smash because we didn't travel a lot when I was a little kid. So like, I didn't actually like fly on a plane until I was like 22
Yeah.
because I wanted to go to Evo. So it was like, oh, okay.
Which
Uh,
Evo did you go to?
2016, the last
Oh,
good one.
I was gonna say, even though HBox won, that was a good Evo.
It was a great Evo, yeah, and it was good for other games too. Like SF5 was really hype, and
Also, I still feel like I know even though HBox won, I think the grand finals was actually a hype set. Like it was super back and
Mm-hmm.
forth, came down to the very last moment.
Mhm. Yep, it was the last good Evo in my opinion. Not just because of Melee, but Melee was fire that year. It was so good. Also, Johnny beating West Balls for the first time in like two
That was
years.
that was hype.
Plup beat HBox with Sheik in winners. That was a
Right.
great.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah,
It was,
that's right.
yeah, it was a great tournament. It was a great tournament.
Other than
Uh,
Mango losing, but
yeah, and like but if you're gonna lose and everyone else, performs so well, it's like you kind of forget about it
didn't
because there's
Mango
lots of brackets where he loses. And
he lost to Armada in losers, right?
he lost to Armada and he lost to HBox,
Right.
um, and then
Or like
HBox lost to
or something because Plum beat HBox in semis.
Mm-hmm. Oh, he might have lost to Plup. I'd have to Google it. I don't remember who Mango lost to it in winners, but he definitely got knocked out by Armada. Um, what else? Oh, when I started playing, it was 2004, 2015, maybe late 2014. But I didn't actually like play other good Melee players for like a year. I just played like in my room and just like learned to wave dash from watching like YouTube tutorials and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the first tournament I went to, I got like double four stock. So I got eight stocked by Danny, and I was playing Falco against him. And he just like back aired me like a bunch of times.
I didn't know you ever played Falco in tournament. That's really funny.
Yeah, I used to
I can't
play
even imagine that today.
Green Falco when I first started, uh, because of like PP and Mango and maybe to some degree like West Balls, and that was actually the last time I like took a Spacey seriously, if that matters. Like that was the last time I was like, I'm practicing the Spacey to play in tournament. Was like right when I started, and then I just played a bunch of characters that want to grab you after that, like all in a row. It was like
Mm-hmm.
Doc, Peach, Sheik. Uh, yeah,
So at this
it's
point, you were just playing like Turtle a whole bunch, right?
I was playing Turtle as my main practice partner, and he's playing Yellow Yoshi. But like, I can't stress this enough. We were both like in that first 6 months of Melee when you're just like you're not even really wave dashing. Like you're just kind of
Right.
you
Yeah.
don't really have
Moving
your
around.
combo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I started playing Turtle, and great dude. Let's go Turtle.
I was
Fuck.
gonna say the turtle changes. Like I don't think I've ever heard of this guy. Did he never go to anything?
Uh, not really. I mean, we went to Big House 6 together because we were like, you know, excited and like,
Right.
and I don't know,
That's
we
a
were
good
just like,
video.
it's like, yeah, let's go to Big House 6. And it's only 7 hours. And so we drove. And I remember when we got there, we had a hotel room reserved under his mom's name. And they kind of like gave us shit for it. They're like, oh, we can't give you the room. It's like the wrong name. And he was like, no, it's my mom. And he was like, okay, well, do you have a credit card? And neither one of us had a credit card. So he had to like call it. We thought we were doomed. We like drove all the way there, and he had
Right.
to call his mom and be like, "Yo, can you just approve this room for us, and we'll pay you when we get back?" And so, shout out to Turtle's mom. Let's go. uh, yeah, and then at some point, I went to Joey's dorm because I heard about players that were like my level. Sean Moore went to a tournament down there, and he saw Jack play, and he saw Juice and maybe like Hunger and a bunch of people playing Melee, and he was like, "Oh shit, Quigs! There's nobody that plays in Appleton besides me and Turtle, but like they play in Oshkosh." And so I'm like a social butterfly. So I either like messaged Joey and Tim or like talked to them at a tournament or something, and was like, "Yo, I'll play." And then I went over to their dorm room.
I still have clips on my my Twitch channel of that night of like us just playing like really shitty friendlies.
Yeah, that's like
There are a few of
that's
those.
like big. That's maybe like 1 year into playing Smash Quigs, maybe less, maybe like 9 months of playing Smash Quigs.
Wait, Joey, do you remember when you first talked to Quigs? Like ever?
It was definitely because of. Was it? Because you knew Devin like pretty
Yeah,
well, so
I
it
knew
might have
Devin
been
pretty
through
well.
Devin, or it might have been through Smash. I can't remember, but it was. I did not know you very well when you came over. I know that much. Like, so it was
Right.
probably like 2014 ish that we met.
Did you ever come over to my apartment in Nina, like on my futon, and play Melee with me?
Yes, I did one time. I remember. And you were
Yeah.
you were saying I should be a Falcon main because my Falcon was sick. And I'm like, nah, that's probably not a good idea.
Yeah, actually, the crazy subplot of the Quigs Melee career is that once I like started playing Joey, like he just kicked my ass so hard and was like younger than me, which made me mad. We started playing at like the same time ish, like
Yeah.
within a year, and so
Mm.
it's like it was a lot of losing to Joey. And then I got like better at playing against Joey, and so then even though I was still a weaker player, I could like take games more often, like
Mm-hmm.
which probably didn't feel great from your end of things. Like, man, I used to fuck this kid up, and now he can beat me sometimes, and 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 then you got better again, and I was like, oh, this is hard. Like, it's hard. It's just been a constant like push pull of like try to get better than Joey, and then
I
I don't know.
definitely I, I'll always credit you for making me better against certain characters, I think. Because you would always like you would pull out Peach, and I had no idea what to do against Peach, and then like because of that, I kind of like uh got a better sense of it. And same thing with Sheik too. Like when you started picking her up, you were beating me, and you still do beat me with Sheik quite a bit actually. But I definitely improved because of you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and also like just like not to deviate from the timeline too much, but like it is nice when you. I'm sure Spence has this too. Like you meet people in the scene, and it's like, oh, okay, like you kind of get like you're fun to play against, and you like to do the same kinds of things like target test and event mode, and like you have a similar like appreciation for the game, right? And like that's not necessarily guaranteed. Like you can play somebody in bracket and like they can fuck you up, but you don't necessarily want to play them anymore. Like you're like, okay, that was fine. But then you play other people and you're like, oh, I would just play this dude for hours. And like I got really lucky because like I met Joey when we were both around the same skill level, and so we like got to get good together.
Well, it's funny because I know you also had Tim over a couple times to your place, and I don't think
He
you
he
enjoyed
he
fighting
beat
Marth
he,
very much.
no, and like and yeah, like that's a good example. Like Tim wasn't that much better than us. Like he was, and he
Mhm.
still might be. I haven't played him in so long. I played him once this summer, but it was my puff, and I was trying to like roll out him a whole bunch of times. Um, But yeah, when I started, he was significantly better than me, but not so much better than me that it was like expected that I would get like four stocked over and over again. But I just got Marth cheesed like a bunch, like just like back throw down tilt
Yeah.
over and over again, or like random F smashes. But like I didn't know how to like wave dash out of shield and punish it or anything. So the F smash would either hit and kill me or miss, and I didn't get much off of it. So it's just a skewed risk reward in Marth's favor. And so it's like yeah, that's not as fun to learn. Like, oh, I'm playing melee and I'm getting
Mm.
better, but it's like, yeah, but I'm really just getting forward smashed a lot, and it's not as fun. You can kill Falco. I'm playing Joey. I can kill Falco.
Yeah. I'm glad I could even that out a little bit. It's like, hey, you're getting cheesed a lot, but why don't you cheese me instead? Just take out some of that anger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely. If
I got cheesed by both people, so.
You did. You got caped a lot by my dog for a while. That was funny.
Oh, did I? I don't even remember fighting your dog. That must have been a long time ago.
We'd play Doc Falco, and I would just like pill camp in the corner, and then if I grabbed you, I'd just back throw you, and then like if you upbeat, you would just get caped and die, and you'd be like, oh, it was some version of like yeah, like I should be beating this Doc, but like yeah, if every time you grab me and cape me, it's just like not fun. I was like, oh okay. Because it's not fun to get caped by Dr. Mario and repeatedly down smashed. Like, I don't know if the last time you played against a good Doc, but down smash is an annoying CC move to just spam the low percent.
Yeah.
It's really good.
I've watched Brody do that to people for years. He'll just throw pills and CC down smash for the first 40% of every stock against a Spacey, and it's like tried and true. That stuff works. Okay, so that's like 2016. 2017, I was like fully committed to Falcon and Peach. Like, okay, I'm gonna play mostly Peach and keep a Falcon on the side. And then I started going to like lots of tournaments, like Green Bay, Appleton, Nina, Oshkosh, a lot of constructs. Never went to a GHQ, but I always wanted to. And then I met a lot of people.
I was gonna say, I think I met you in 2016 or maybe early 2017 at a construct.
Yeah, I think I met you actually. I either met you at a construct, or do you remember those tournaments at Geek Mania in Madison?
Yes, actually.
I think I met you there. I'm
Did
pretty
we
sure.
talk?
I mean, I might have said hi. I'm pretty social, but I don't know if I introduced myself or.
I was gonna say,
Certainly didn't.
I was definitely there at those, but I don't remember specifically talking to you. If I did,
I know we played at a construct. That was the first time I ever met you.
Right, that was the first time I remember talking to you, but maybe we did have a very brief conversation, or it was like a group. You know, you said something that I was in a group in, or something like that.
Part of the like reason, like a big reason that like I don't love to talk about like, oh, my journey through the scene is I was just an angry dick for like 2 years because I just wasn't good and I wanted to be good. It's just like I had never tried to be good at a game before. I had never.
Right.
It definitely brings something out of you that might not have been there previously. I definitely feel that.
Yeah, and like I wasn't like, I don't know how to describe it. There's worse versions of that than when I was, but like, a lot of people's first memory of me was just like, oh yeah, it's that Peach player who just like tilts really easily. It's like, you don't necessarily want to talk about that, but it's true, so we might as well. I was a Peach player and I tilted really easily for like 2 years. But I must have been nice enough outside of the game that it didn't hinder my growth as a person or anything like that. So, because people would still like be my friend and go get dinner and stuff. It's just that that's a lot of people's like, well, when did we first meet? Like, oh, I probably tried to down smash you and you didn't fall for it, and so I got mad.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember. Yeah.
Yeah, and like the biggest swing of that, like the biggest version of that by far was JSP. JSP, he played lamer than any Fox I'd ever played, and he was good. Like he wasn't just playing lame, and he wasn't like just fucking me up. He was fucking me up while playing lame, and it made me so mad. And just like he would literally just start every stock by short hop lasering me from the other side of the stage until I was at like a 40% before he would even like go in, and it just made me so mad. I would try to chase him, he'd just run away. I was like so mad. But he didn't want to get down smashed and lose either, so I understand where he's coming from. But yeah, and then it's like 2017, 2018. I was like, okay, this Peach thing's not working out really, and like I really don't love the game as much as I thought I would, and I'm not as good as I hoped I'd be. So then I started doing commentary and going to tournaments for fun and not tilting nearly as much because I didn't really care if I lost, and then becoming, I guess you'd call it like a community figure, maybe that's the word for it. Guy who doesn't really like care if they win or lose, but like I just want to talk about the game and meet people and hang out. And I still went to tons
I
of
think,
stuff, but I do.
yeah, I think you've definitely over the years been trying to find, or like not find your place in the community, but um, like extend your like presence in the community in different ways. Like you would just go from being people's homies and traveling to everything to like, all right, I'm gonna do commentary. I'm gonna have this interview show, and like I'm gonna host Big Blue. Like you did that for a long ass time too. You know, like I think you've
Yeah,
expressed it to me before. Like you really desire to be a productive part of the community just outside of being a player. You know, which is really cool.
yeah. Ideally, I would just be the sickest player you guys have ever seen and fuck you all up. But a good silver medal is just like, okay, well, I'll just be like a TO commentator kind of personality, and my best friends all play melee, so it's not like you can. This is the thing about quitting melee that people don't really think about is like if I quit playing melee, everyone I know is still playing melee, so it's it's not like cold turkey. It's just
Do you feel like you have to stick to melee though because of that,
no.
like in some fashion?
I love melee. Like I've never not loved melee. It's just that it's hard to love melee. You're bad at it and losing all the time. It's one
Right.
thing to love melee when you're new and you expect to lose, but then
Right.
you kind of get your shit together and you either kind of fly or fail, sink or swim,
Hmm.
and that's like a fight every tournament, right? Like so that feeling of like wanting to be good, being better than you. Like I'm always better than I used to be. Like I'm probably the best I've ever been right now, and I haven't like played seriously for like a year. Nobody has. It's COVID, but you know what I mean.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But like I'm just getting. I don't know. I'm like getting better all the time because I like the game. So I don't really feel like pinned down by the game. It's still like my favorite game and it's my favorite community, and I love watching tournaments. I love learning weird shit about it. Like it's my favorite thing to break down and dissect. So I don't think I'm pigeonholed by it. It's still my favorite thing. It's just not my favorite thing to like take so seriously that like, you know, it
Yeah.
hurts when I lose.
Right. I mean, you don't want it to be too toxic in your life. That's not worth
Yeah,
the
I'm playing
pain,
for the
I
long
guess.
haul. I'm kind of going with the approach of like, all right, I'm probably going to play this game till I'm like 40, and so why sprint when you can,
Right.
why burn out, why burn out and hate the game when you could just come
You
and
did
go as
have
I love it for a while.
you did have a bit of a competitive resurgence. Like I don't remember. I think that was 2019 that you were like going to that Oshkosh thing, or was it Nina? I can't remember. But you were doing like pretty well there, right? As Sheik.
Oh yeah, those things
Hmm.
on Thursdays, if I recall.
Yeah, I remember like
Uh,
being at a Madison Fest and you were telling me like that you were like doing pretty well at those.
yeah, I definitely feel like switching to Sheik after playing Falcon for so long was like, this is probably unsurprising if you've played the game and if you've played Sheik ever, but I never really had. But to me, it was like, oh shit, um, she's fast and fun like Falcon. She has a good grab game, but she's not as like helpless as he is in a lot of matchups. So, uh, so she kind of like sparked like, oh okay, well, maybe I could be good, maybe I will be good, or you know. And the other thing is when you first start learning a new character, like that's kind of the best because every time you learn something new, you can implement it immediately. You don't really have habits, so you kind of just you'll learn a new thing. Like I remember when I learned like down tilt fair starts to connect at like 150. Like oh shit, I have a late percent kill option. That's really cool. And like I remember learning like how to tech chase and like not just grab them over and over again, but like F tilt, watch for no tech, dash attack fair. It looks so simple, but it's like it's also it's an execution test. If they hit the tech, you don't have to dash attack. Falcon's kind
Right.
of all in on knee or get killed, so it's she's a very fun character to learn, and I'm still very much a beginner. Like just because I've been playing a while doesn't mean I'm not a beginner. If you were to rank me, it's not you wouldn't rank me too much higher than I used to be ranked. So with that in mind, she's a very good character to learn the game with, and I'm always learning the game. So it's been great. But to your point, like yeah, I was definitely playing a lot more pre-COVID. I was going to like tournaments in Nina. I was going to
Mhm.
Lamont's house like every week.
Yeah.
Even when you moved, we would still net play a bunch of times during the week. I was learning Sheik, and you know, I'm not saying COVID like kind of killed that. It's not COVID's fault. I could have definitely been net playing this whole summer. It's just like, I don't know. But yeah,
Well, I
I think
think internet's been an issue for you, like over pandemic, right? Because you're at Jack's a lot, and you can't really like just piggyback off his internet and just grind as much as you probably want to, right?
yeah. I mean, when I move and there's nothing to do, I'm sure I will go back in the lab and that'll be
Mm.
great. Uh,
I'm telling you, man, this like Slippy like makes it just so easy compared to Anthers to like
Yeah.
you don't even have to be that. I feel like with Anthers you had to be like really motivated to want to get better to even log onto the site in the first place and like queue up and stuff.
Well, you're
Like
also way more limited back then by distance. Now I can play Connor in
yeah,
Canada with no lag.
yeah.
Basically.
Like it's so easy to just like keep playing and playing and playing, you know.
People are gonna get so good though. Like it's actually scary. That's part of what's motivating me to keep up too. Is like I don't want to fall behind. People are gonna get really fucking. I've already seen people starting to get like a lot better through Slippy. That's like got to keep up with the competition.
yeah. I mean, just being able to play the game, right? Like against good players. Like obviously, you know, when you're first starting, everybody's better than you. So if you just go to somebody's house and play for 6 hours, you're probably going to get better. But then that learning curve kind of increases to the point where the only way you're really going to get better is if you grind specific matchups and you ask the right kind of questions. Ideally, you have a good teacher or a coach or just a practice partner who's interested in you getting better. This is like pre-Slippy, right? Like that's the way you got good, was you
Mm-hmm.
got good, and then you got like help, and then you got better, and then you practiced the like top tier matchups, and then you got better, and hopefully you've got like natural ability in there too to like kind of put the like put the puzzle pieces together of like, okay, well I can kind of play this certain kind of neutral because the other character can't deal with these options, and you're kind of building up your brain, right? But now you can just shortcut to just knowing the right answer to a lot of scenarios. And I know it's not binary. It's not like this beats this. It's more like you can learn good habits. You can learn a character's like bread and butters, and then you can practice those bread and butters on a CPU with random DI that smash DIs for hours while you listen to a podcast. And then when you go against a player, fucking who knew, you can hit him with that shit that you practiced in the lab. So I think it like if you don't have anyone to play with, you're just as likely to become a good player now as before. You kind of had to know people, and you kind of had to
Right.
know how to get better with better players. Because just getting your ass kicked isn't good enough. You have to actually like do something with the practice, right? So
Right.
I think it's just teaching people a lot of good practice habits that if they had started playing like 5 years ago, they would just play friendlies for 6 hours and call that practice. But that's not really practice. That's playing the game. I don't know.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a practice guy. I'm a big practice guy.
You are.
I like,
Dude,
I think practice is
practicing
fun.
teams with you is like probably the most fun with Melee I think I've ever had. Like, to be honest, I could do that forever.
Do you remember the teams we played at my house when Quigs visited?
Oh, you played teams?
I think we did, didn't we?
I know we
Did
played.
we not play teams? I thought
We played
did.
that Star Wars game.
We played the Star Wars game. We played Find Me, and I thought we played because didn't I pick up Henry late? Maybe we didn't play teams. I thought we did.
I don't think we did.
I don't think so,
Although
because
I
it would
could
have
be
been me
wrong.
and Quigs playing on the same team, probably. and I don't think I remember doing that.
Who knows? But could play teams next time. Well, assuming COVID isn't awful.
Mhm.
That's another thing. That's actually a decent segue. I would have quit the game a lot sooner if I didn't have teams, because teams gave me a chance to like actually go far in bracket and actually like um, get results that I wanted to get. Where it was like, because Peach is so fucking broken in teams, and I was friends with enough like relatively good players that like I could team with like a decent player at any bracket, and between them being good and me being Peach, we would have a
Yeah,
decent chance at
yeah.
making some upsets and stuff. So, and
You know,
I
I
remember
hated teams before I met you, right? I
were you
really didn't
teaming with
like it.
Tim?
Huh?
Were you just playing teams with Tim and stuff, or you just mean like as an idea?
I mean, when I did rarely play it, it was with Tim, yeah, but there was just a lot about it that I didn't like, particularly like the camera. But um, after playing with you a whole bunch, it just felt so sick to like, it like exercised like a new muscle in your brain almost with Melee, where it's like, I'm going to do a move that doesn't necessarily net me the strongest follow up, but sends them back with the right amount of knockback to my partner and then set up for the next move. It's like so cool. I love that aspect of it now.
No, teams is insane. It's an unfortunate thing that like the Melee community in the past, since 2016, I'd say really started like dismissing teams in a lot of fashion, and like the team scene kind of died. Like
Mm-hmm.
people just don't care, and then like slipping everything, like teams is such on the back burner, right? It's sad because teams is like so sick, right? We're all teams lovers here, but
Oh yeah,
it really is
for sure.
unfortunate. I felt like a lot of, especially like younger players haven't even played teams now. They just fucking grind on their
Yeah,
computer and
it
solo.
sucks
And
because I
so then
think
when they get to the tournament, they say, "Oh, I don't like teams." Like, well, it's not that you don't like it; you just never played it, so you assume
Mhm.
you're not gonna like it. You
It
know?
sucks because I think Quigs and I have a lot of like unwritten history with teams yet. You know, like I want to keep playing it.
Yeah,
But
that was a
yeah.
big reason that it's a huge reason that I kept playing the game and that I played different characters. Like I play Sheik now, but for a long time, the only reason I even had a Sheik at all was for teams, because she's such a good teams character, but she's not as like one dimensional, at least the way I was playing it, as Peach.
Mhm.
So, you know, and then it just made sense. Like, okay, well, if I'm playing Sheik in doubles, I might as well play Sheik in singles, because then all my hours of doubles will carry over into singles, even if it's just like, movement and stuff. Um, but yeah, when I was like a bad Peach in singles, I was an okay Peach at doubles. And just, I don't know. I don't think I'm a natural at doubles. That's not the case at all. And I don't want to like lean into the stereotype of like a Peach player that just spams down smash is like, oh yeah, I'm really just better at teams, because that's like a real stereotype. That's a thing.
Yeah.
We've all seen it where it's just like, I really just prefer teams. It's like, you just like down smashing. But I mean, genuinely, I do love teams.
Yeah. No, I can vouch for
A
you. Like
lot.
you you put way more thought into teams than just, hey, I have a broken move and I can get carried by it in this format. Like we've thought about that shit collectively for like way longer than any normal person should.
Uh, I definitely like my breakthrough moment of like of teams was in terms of like what I like validating like me playing the game, right? Because like you don't get a lot of validation out of this thing. Even if you think you're good, you're one you're one match away from getting 8 stocked and being soul crushed, unless you're literally like top 100. Like no matter how sick you think you are, you could definitely like meet up with some random Ganon online and get destroyed, and then be like, what the hell?
Right.
Or worse, a high tier that you actually know the matchup of. You know what I mean? That's actually scarier when you're like, I'm really confident in the Fox matchup, and then some Fox just like kicks your dick in for like, who knows how many games, like, and that can happen at any level. So I remember the validation I got from teams was when I was at a tournament, and um, Gary Oak books, Hunger. Do you guys remember the Hand? He's an Appleton Fox player that used to play. Gap W was still playing. This is like 2017.
I know all those
Yeah,
other names, but not the Hand.
Yeah, I don't
his name
recognize
his name was Seth. He literally just lived in Appleton and came to only Appleton tournaments. He was a nice guy.
I'm surprised I
Probably
don't
only
know
because
him. Maybe I'd recognize him. I don't know.
uh, and I remember Danny Baxter asked me if I wanted to play teams, and I said I will. I mean, I will. But then I pointed to like three other players that were there that were significantly better than me. I was like, Dickey was there, Cap W was there, and I think maybe like somebody, maybe the Hand. I was like, you can team with all these players though. They don't have teammates, and he's like, no, I want to team with you. And then we won.
Aw.
Like we won the tournament, and I was like, oh my god. Now, granted, Cheek Peach is just a spacey eating team. That is a really brutal team if you're like a double spacey. Like you can down smashed once, and then the Sheik can just dash attack fair you. It is that scary in on smaller stages, right? So like, I'm not an idiot. I know that teaming with a Peach is like a calculated move. If I played Link, he probably wouldn't ask me. But I also remember saving him from getting rested by down airing above him like 5 times in grands. And it was like tilting the puff player. And I was like, oh my gosh,
That's
I'm
really
good at
funny.
this thing. Yeah, it's weird to have the conscious thought of like, oh, I'm good at this thing. And that thing is keep Danny alive because I know he's actually the person who's going to win this for us. Uh, and so it was really cool to be like, okay, there are other players that are better than me, but because Peach is good in teams and I like teams and I know Danny, we're a better team than they are as individual players, and that just blew my mind. And I got like,
right.
dude, I got like $25 out of that.
That's good.
It was a big deal.
You remember
That
our
was,
team's
I mean,
run at FCF NFN?
we got, I think we got second,
We
and
got
we had never
second.
teamed
Yeah.
before. And we did really good against Hunger and Danny. Like it was, we Hunker had to play Doc because the Falco wasn't working, which I thought was very nice. I was like, okay, cool. We made him play his main,
hmm
or what I consider to be his main. I think he's a better Doc player than a Falco. And we had never teamed before, and that was very cool too. And I was like, oh, nice.
Yeah, that was sick. Did you go Peach back then or Sheik?
I think we were playing Peach Falco.
Yeah, that sounds right.
But I think I was playing Peach. But yeah, oh yeah, because Danny played Sheik, and I didn't want to get chain grabbed. I don't think he would have, but I didn't want it to happen. But that was cool. Yeah, we had never teamed before, and then we got second. And I was like, oh my gosh, teams.
We also
Why did
had
we
the
team?
what?
Why did we team? I can't even remember why we
Why
teamed.
did we?
Yeah, were we just homies, or like did Tim not show up to that one? I don't remember.
Uh,
Because usually you teamed with Tim and I teamed with Eru, but for whatever reason, I teamed with you that time.
yeah, I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I think, if I remember right, I think we planned it too. Like, it wasn't just a spur of the moment thing either. I don't know why though.
Yeah, we definitely had never teamed in tournament before. That was the first time, but
hmm
we might have maybe talked about it. Like, oh yeah, I like teams. But that was cool too. We started laughing the dumbest stuff imaginable, and we did the thing at Nando's like house tournament on some random Peach and popped
Yeah.
off hard. And
That was actually hype though. Because, like, it looked exactly as insane as we wanted it to, you know?
yeah, it was hype. It was
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, I don't think I would still be playing this game if I hadn't discovered a love for teams. I really don't. I mean, I maybe would still be playing it in my room, but like I don't think I would have played as many characters or tried to get as good as I got without teams, which I hope other people find. That's what makes me kind of bummed. What you're saying, Spence, is people not playing teams. It's like, well, what if there's some cool Peach player out there that doesn't get to
Right. Well, yeah,
play
that's the
teams?
thing too, because you're not going to be the only player who prefers teams over singles, right? And it's like there might be people who really like melee, but they don't like singles. And right now, that's it. Like it's over if you don't like singles. There's no chance of playing teams right now. So, and even before the pandemic, like teams was dying pretty hard, especially in Wisconsin. Like we didn't even get in Madison anymore.
You don't
You know,
think the
it's
sudden like re-entrance of IRL tournaments isn't gonna spark like I think the scene's gonna like at least for a little bit get a lot bigger because it's like, hey, we can have tournaments again, so like
well, it's just
everybody's
gonna
gonna
be
show
people
up.
coming back to celebrate, but they're not gonna last more than like a month,
You don't
right?
think so?
Like the old heads will come back just to celebrate Melee being back, but then they're gonna fade off, and like 2 months after, I think it will. Well, that's when we'll know. I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a very good time, right, to get into Melee. Slippy's amazing. Uncle Punch just released a new training mode. The documentary's coming out. Like, it's literally can't be a better time other than the pandemic and that stuff, you know?
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
mean, even the cease and desist thing, like that's going to get a lot of eyes on Melee, and then
Yeah,
that means that people are more interested in this game.
right.
And also, from what I understand, you know, knock on wood, cross your fingers. We kind of, Nintendo hasn't unless they cease and desist Genesis, like they might have just done the one and done, seen this backlash, and we don't know. Maybe there's like a memo like, okay, stop cease and desisting events. We won't know until we try to run another one. Um, but like, knock on wood, if they stop cease and desisting events, like maybe all that attention was actually like it was scary, but it might have been good. Maybe
Right.
more people are excited about Melee.
Right. Yeah, I mean, any news is good news, they say.
Yeah.
That's you bring up another two pretty relevant issues with teams I've noticed too is like one, they extend the time of the tournament a lot longer than a lot of people like I've noticed. Especially like, oh my god, back in the day Smash 4 doubles would always take so fucking long.
Smash 4, yeah.
Yeah. And then also the fact that you have to show up earlier than normal. So a lot of people kind of looked at it as like a shortcut. What's like, well, the tournament starts now, but I don't have to show up until then because that's when singles starts, right? So people would use it as an opportunity to show up later than earlier.
Right.
One of the only criticisms I have, it's not even a criticism. There's nothing anybody can do about it. This isn't like a fixable solution. But one of the problems about a scene that's as small as ours in Wisconsin, one of the unfortunate downsides is there really is only going to be two good teams. There really are only going to be a few players that are really good, and they're going to team with each other, and so they're just going to crush like over and over again. And I
Right.
don't mean necessarily at a big tournament, but if you go to a local,
Mm.
and especially back in the day, if it was like Danny and O'Reilly teaming, why enter? You know what I mean? It's a waste of money. So that's not anybody's fault. It's certainly not Danny and Chris's fault for entering and wanting to team with each other because they were doing it to practice so they could go to GHQ and hopefully win, right? Like, I get it. They want to play teams. We want to play teams, but there's no real reason for,
Yeah, the skill
random
disparity is
neutral.
like literally doubled, basically, and it's
I
already bad.
mean, I think it wouldn't be as big of an issue if there were more teams. Because, like, there were times where there were a lot of teams and it was fine. It's like you don't go in expecting to win the event. But as long as you can have a contentious set against another team, you're happy with it. But the issue was the teams got to where it was like 5 teams in a bracket. Like, this happened in Madison. And it's like the
Mhm.
5 teams are going to be like Martin Squizzage, O'Reilly, and whoever he chooses to team with, me and like Falco Dave or something, and then it's like whoever else, right? And it's like, well, whatever team you're gonna play, you're probably gonna get the breaks beat off of you, you know. And
I
so
remember.
that was
I
what I
remember.
think demotivated at least more of the casual players from just even entering teams at all, you know.
Mhm.
I remember when me and Joey drove down to Construct and we were excited to play teams. And, I mean, we still entered. We didn't drop out of bracket, but the teams bracket really was. It was. Um, uh, I actually remember because there wasn't that many teams, so it's easy to remember. It was O'Reilly and John Money, who we played against on stream at one
Yeah.
point. Um, it was a Mune and JSP who went like Roy against us the game one, and then they went like Roy Fox against us game two.
You could imagine
Us,
how happy I was.
yeah, us, me and Joey, and then like I couldn't get the names right, but it was like a random team of like one Marth and like one Falco, and we beat them. Or no, Marth Luigi. Do you remember that team, Joey? We beat the hell out of them.
Oh yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
do. Didn't we play them like
So
over by the far wall towards like the back door or whatever? One of
yeah,
those
and we like
setups. Yeah.
seven stocked them. So it was like, okay, we beat our team we were supposed to beat. We kind of got memed on. I don't know if we could have beaten JSP and Amune if they went Fox Puff, but it would have been more fun, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
But they were kind of checked out because they're like, all right, well, we're just going to get second and lose to John and Chris, and we were kind of like, well, we would like to get second, but we're probably going to get third. And this other team was just like a random Martha and Luigi, who I'm assuming if we waffle stomped them, got destroyed by all the other teams.
Yeah.
So like, it wasn't like it wasn't fun. It was just it would have been better if that was either more evenly skilled teams or just more teams in general. And I can see why, if you were on the cusp of whether you should enter or not, if you see John Money is teaming with O'Reilly,
We didn't do that
I can
badly against them, to be honest.
no,
I
no, we
remember it
didn't.
being not that bad.
No, I don't think it was bad at all. I mean, we lost, but it was
Mm-hmm.
fun, and like if you
That's
got to
not to
play them for an
say
hour,
the
you
skill
got to play
disparity
them better.
wasn't like huge though. Like Quigs and I had like labbed out a bunch of team stuff, and we were both pretty solid. But yeah, we were still very much outmatched. And it's
Yeah, I mean the
kind of
thing is like
unfortunate.
team synergy carries you, but there is still like a skill disparity that like
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
it only goes so far where it can make up for it. But it does make like good team synergy definitely makes up for a lack of um like individual skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
So,
I can confirm that. Like me and Danny have a team synergy, and he's a godlike player. Don't get me wrong; he's carrying hard, but like he knows
yeah,
what I want to do, and I kind of know what he wants to do, and that's better than just two random spacies that have never met trying to play individual 1v1s in the corner, which is what a lot of teams turns into.
right,
Which is why I would love people to get good at teams, because teams when you know how to like pass and save is like galaxy brain fun, and teams when
right,
you're just like up smashing over and over again is not the same thing. It's a
right.
different sport altogether. Um, but yeah, just to put a button on that, like I'm sure that there were people that would have wanted to enter teams that got scared away by, you look at the bracket and it's John Money and O'Reilly are the first team signed up, and you're like, oh, no, I don't want to enter. And that just snowballs, that just cascades down to like weaker and weaker players. So it's like, there's nothing we can do about it except we can try to infect more people with the teams bug, and hopefully they'll all infect one other person, and then we can bring teams back. Um, yeah, I'll definitely carry the team's flag into whatever this next generation of Melee is. Like, you know, when IRL tournaments come back, I will always put more money into the team's pop bonus than the singles one, because I just want
Right.
people to play teams. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely a logistical issue, but you never know. Maybe if enough people are playing Melee again, it can become big. Because I remember, I mean, now that looking in hindsight, right, in my career from the time I started playing, prime teams time was probably like 2016 ish. I would say, like going to constructs, like there would be like fucking 12 teams, 12 to like 14 teams in a bracket. And that was like hype. And I didn't even realize it because I wasn't, that great at the time. I wasn't bad, but I wasn't getting top four or anything in teams. And like to realize now, like, damn, if we could have that many, like we were struggling to get, 4 teams to enter at B2L. Like to have fucking 12 teams plus, that was insane. So I think it also had to do with this scene was peaked, right? Like numbers wise, peaked in 2016, 2017, early 2017. So,
Mm-hmm.
but I think the doc will really help. I mean, I remember, the first doc and how much it helped and motivated so many people, but hope it happens again.
We need a
Like,
team specific documentary.
Yeah, we need a
can I tell you, if there was a teams doc, I think it would actually be a big deal, and it wouldn't. But you can't just have it be PewFat. You have to do what the documentary did and cover like 8 different styles of human being that play teams because
Right.
we're not all going to be pew fat. So you have to
Well,
cover
you
it.
do
Like,
QFAT, Team UGS. You could do Fiction MacD. Their team, they were actually a really good team back when MacD still played.
Muji King and Plup.
Four
Muji King and
leaf
Plup are really
mango.
interesting.
Mango Lucky, although I mean they're kind of, you could argue Mango Lucky, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're
Johnny
still
Broom.
inspirational.
Oh yeah,
Johnny
Korean
Sherman's
fried
team.
chicken.
Yeah, Korean
Korean
fried.
Fried Chicken, they're my favorite team right now. They're definitely my favorite team, and they have been since like 2017. I saw them at like full bloom and just like fell in love. Team Falcon, are you kidding me? That's amazing. Just killing spacies. Oh my god, it's so great.
Yeah. Hopefully teams will make a comeback. It's definitely on the back burner because Melee itself needs to.
Man, imagine Slippy teams. Oh man.
Yeah,
I
mean, or
remember.
maybe we don't know. It could. I know that's they said that they're eventually going to do it, but they have a lot of other things that they wanted to do first, like ranked. So,
Mhm.
and that's
Oh
completely
man,
understandable.
Quigs, you remember like the one we did this like one time, but we were hanging out IRL and we did Anthers like teams with 2 just random people that we found. We played that for a while and just grinded
Yeah,
like
I remember.
that
Yeah, that was fun.
was like I would have done that for a while if we could, honestly. That was really helpful because we don't get to like play
Yeah.
teams. Like Quigs and I's issue for a long time was we would lab the hell out of teams, but we never got a ton of practice actually playing teams.
Yeah, and then we would play against Lamont and Lennox, and that was
Yeah.
super great because they
Oh
both
yeah,
play
that's
spaces.
right. We would always drive
If we
home that
just,
night and like talk about how it went and stuff. I remember that.
yeah. I mean, literally, if we just played Lamont and Lennox, like 2 human beings playing, and they're good, 2 human
Mhm.
beings playing spaces, I genuinely think that we would get so much better at teams than if we were just kind of stuck not having anybody to play. And even with that limitation, we got pretty damn good, especially because
Yeah.
no one's playing teams. So it's like I don't know where you'd rank us, but probably like 4th best team in the state, which is hilarious because it's like we we don't deserve that title. It's just that nobody plays teams as much. And
I guess if you're like taking static teams, like obviously there are a million different combinations.
I mean, like teams, like static teams that you see all the time. Like I would consider Spence and Henry a static team, right? Like,
Yeah, it's a little. I was gonna explain the Spence and Henry team because I was just thinking because I've actually had like trouble keeping teammates because they all retired from the game. The very first teammate I had was this Marth player named Utagawa, but he kind of fell out of Melee like in 2015, like very early. And so then after that, it was Simple, like Simple and I, because we played Melee the most together. We're good friends, but we're also the best players in lacrosse. So we just played, if you don't count Nui. So Chris and I played for, we teamed for the events that we were both at. Eventually, Chris kind of fell out of playing the game in 2017. And that was when I switched to Fox Dave, who was a Fox in Madison, because he was like on the come up, good Fox player. We were really good friends. We vibed well. I had shown him he didn't like teams initially, but after like I kind of showed him some of the truth of teams, he started liking it. We teamed for a while, but then he fell out of love with the game. But we had actually Smash and Splash 4, I believe. This most recent one was 5, correct?
correct. That's correct.
Yeah. So Smash and Splash 4, we actually was the best I'd have actually ever done in teams. We got 48th out of like I don't know, like 200 some teams or some shit like that. So we actually made it to the second part, like second wave of teams and stuff. Our losses were PewFat and then KJH and Ginger. But we
Damn.
like beat all of our other teams, which is pretty hype. And so after all that, Fox Dave retired. I teamed with his roommate Felco Dave. He retired, and then it was like, all right, I'm like running on teammates. I was teaming with Andrew for a little bit, if you remember Andrew. But then it was just like Andrew was starting to hate the game, and so then it's like I'm just like, dude, I don't even have any teammates. And I was like, well, Henry, would you want a team? And he, Henry's a super nice guy. The issue is Henry doesn't really care about doubles. Like he cares that like he'll play because he knows it matters to me, but he personally doesn't really care about teams. He's all about singles. That's respectable, right? It's like not everyone needs to love teams. He's just a good player and he's willing to play because he knows it matters to me. So that's like the weird thing. And then also Books was the static team with Henry. So like we still have the weird dynamics like, well, Books should get priority because they were teaming together first. So you could argue we're a static team. But and now with COVID, I mean, who even knows what the fuck's gonna happen? But
Yeah, yeah.
I
Actually,
would
I have a
probably still team with Henry. The nice thing about Henry, because like usually my teammates were a little bit worse than me, where like Henry's better than me. So like it's nice to have like I probably have better team awareness than he does, but he has the melee individual skill. So like it's like nice to have that feeling of like okay, like I can trust him to be on his own and not worry as much about like I'll just help him if he gets in a bad situation, but it's not going to happen as often as it would with other teammates.
Mhm.
I have
So
a super duper tiny like tangent story, but it's like 8 sentences. Bear with me. Um, I went to a tournament. Primarily, it was mostly a PM tournament called Neo Tussle City in Chicago. Do you guys know that tournament?
no, actually.
Nope.
This is unsurprising. That's funny. Uh, but I went because Nick wanted to go. Nick Duquette, the homie. I've spent more time in a car with Nick than any other human, except maybe my mom, which is hilarious. Uh, um, Nick wanted to go. Mike Sharka wanted to go.
We don't
And
talk
that was
about.
all that was redacted wanted to go. That was that was our car. And we were meeting Marshall and Fonz and a bunch of other people that were there for Ultimate or PM. But none of us really entered Melee except for me and Books. Books was there, and Books wanted to play, and Books wanted to play teams, and I was there, and I only wanted to play teams. And me and Books got fourth at Neo Tussle City in Chicago.
In
Marth,
PM or Melee?
no, in Melee, in Marth Peach,
Okay.
we beat Spicy and Soth in Melee, which is crazy. Like that's just alarming. And we took a game off of the team that actually won the tournament. We were one of their only 2 game losses. It was Tech Boy and somebody good from Michigan. It doesn't really matter, but let's say it was Tech
Ripple
Boy.
or something. Or Ripple's not Michigan, but
I don't remember. It doesn't really matter, but it was like an Icy's Fox team that was just terrifying. They actually wound up beating Chris and I don't remember who Chris teamed with. Maybe he teamed with Ripple. It doesn't really matter.
Rev
But I
says
remember me and
Dirt Boy, maybe.
Yes, thank you. Tech Boy and Dirt Boy were the team that won the tournament.
just at
But
that.
It sounds like
they both
a
have boy.
Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah.
It does. And me and Books teamed, and we got fourth, and it blew my mind. I was like, wait, this is a transferable skill because this is at the end of playing like teams with like Danny and CFR and
Mm-hmm.
Joey for like like a year, and then I just randomly teamed with Books. Books is better than me, so like you're saying, like I could leave him alone, and I, if anything, he was more worried about me. But
Right.
he also knew how teams worked. He was like, okay, this is
Yeah.
our general plan. This is where we want to strike. This is how we hold center, and it was great. It was so cool to be like to speak that language, of like I know how to play teams, but I've never played with you. You know how to play teams, but you've never played with me. But we also both understand what's going to happen, and it like clicked, and like that is definitely a thing of team synergy, unexpected team synergy, being better than better individual players, and that was
Mm-hmm.
cool. We almost got paid. That was crazy.
Right.
Yeah, so that was fun. Anyways,
Yeah. I mean, I was basically done with what I was saying. You reminded me though. Books was always my side chick, is what we'd call each other, because we'd team with like we had our normal static teammates, but there would be situations where they weren't there, and so we would team with each other. And Books and I had a good, Books is a solid teammate. he'd always put himself in the corner too much because that's where he feels safe, which not always the best in teams, but we definitely had some success. We beat decent, we did do well, so it was good times. But yeah, Joey and I played teams at the Fest actually.
We did play a little bit of teams, yeah.
We didn't. I mean, it's hard to remember now because COVID is just fucking shifted time a lot.
Yeah.
We've never teamed a bracket because Joey wasn't going to tournaments at that time. And also teams, like I said, was kind of dying. There weren't even enough to have teams stuff, but sad.
I remember the biggest difference between teaming with Quigs and teaming with you was I couldn't laser as much as I wanted to.
Oh yeah, well you just laser me. You would end guard me lasering, which would be fun.
Yeah, the difference is I would laser Quigs and you'd be like, "Oh, sick laser, that actually helped."
Yeah.
I'm like, nice.
It's actually good when you're recovering to get lasered if you're expecting to get lasered because you can recover. You can.
Well, it'd be like we'd be in neutral and he would take my jump with the laser and then I'd get like F smash and have no jump and die.
Yeah.
It's like, well, like I got stunned from the laser, which allowed him to F smash me, and I didn't have the jump, so I died immediately.
I'm sure that's happened to me before. I'm actually positive that exact situation has happened to me before. But I'm like, all right, well, at least Joey's aware of where I am and he's trying to shoot lasers. And I'm like,
right.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not saying lasering bad. I'm just saying it was like a thing that Joey was getting better at it too. Like I do remember. It's like you want to be placing your lasers well, where it's like they only help your teammate, right? So
yeah.
But
I guess I was never specific. I was just like, just shoot lasers, and then
Quigs is such a homie in teams, dude. I'll like charge F smash him, and you'll be like, "Nah, dude, it's cool. Like, don't worry about it."
Yeah. I just love teams, dude. And like, I'm just glad anybody's playing teams and like trying their best because teams is hard. Like, it's so fast and crazy. Of course, you're gonna hit each other. Of course, you're gonna hit each other. Getting mad when you get hit by your teammate is such a waste of energy. It's just like, what? What did you think was gonna happen? There's 4 of us running around. Like,
right.
I'm not saying that's what you're saying, Spence. I just mean in general, like when people tilt because they get hit by their teammate. And I've seen it at every local ever.
I mean, I teamed with Simple, who I would expect him to kill me with a knee at least twice in the set. So I learned pretty young to not get upset as much about those kinds of things.
Did you read about
where it's like if they're interrupting me from just playing the singles match on the left side, that can be annoying, right? Because like there are times where teams is broken down to 2 1v1s, maybe not by design, but just it happens. And it's like that's fine. I'm good. Just don't get in my way in that moment, and we'll be good.
Did you see what
I'll get lasered in my back when I'm like literally edge guarding the other guy? It's like, what are you doing?
Did you see what Connor said? He said, "I would just flame my teammate whenever he hit me for the entire day." It's really funny.
Yeah, I've definitely like peach grinded CFR into oblivion and like I apologize and he's like, "It's cool, man." So I just kind of learned that from him to just be pretty chill about it. I'm like, oh, it's fine. If you team with a peach, there's a reasonable chance you're gonna die to that peach. It's just gonna happen.
But yeah, teams are sick.
I'm pretty sure that's. I mean, if I missed anything in terms of the timeline, it's just like insignificant stretches of like 6 months where I'd only go to locals. But for the most part, that's pretty much where we are now. I kind of stopped taking the game seriously in 2018. I play with Joey a lot, and I TO'd for like a while. I started doing commentary pretty seriously in like 2018, and
podcast.
I don't know. Oh yeah,
or interviews.
For like an entire year, I did a podcast. Some would say too much because I used to do like 3 episodes a week, which was too much. That's a lot.
God damn it. Yeah, no, you. Oh my god, I remember one day you said like, "Oh, I scheduled 3 podcasts for today, but I cut it down to 1."
Yeah, I remember hearing that too. Actually.
Yeah, That was funny. That was I don't know, man. It's like my favorite format of community building. I don't know how to describe it. Nobody else is doing it. That's the problem. I wish somebody else
Oh
did
yeah.
it.
Well, no,
And I
that's
would
good.
love.
That's your niche, dude. Just fucking run with it, right? It's like, why do you need
Yeah,
someone else to do it? You can do it.
yeah. I
I
mean,
agree.
it was funny. The first one was just on accident. I don't remember. It was Martin, and it was like
I thought it
he
was
literally did.
intentional. I thought it was like Martin and then Jake Johnson or something.
Yeah, Martin, and then Jake Johnson. I don't remember
And
who
then
was
like
third off the
Brody
top of
was pretty early because he didn't want to be left out. I
my head.
remember.
Brody is, and I said yes. This is not a bad thing. Brody is the only person to ask me if he could be on the show. Which is not that's not a bad thing. I think I even posted like, hey, if you want to be on the show, let me know. So it wasn't like It wasn't like it was unrequested. It was just he was like, I'm down to talk, and I was like, sick. I needed guests.
You did
The
Gorman
the
pretty early on too.
yes, he was third. He was third. Thank you.
Who?
I remember. Gorman,
Muckfather.
Muckfather.
Gorman. Yeah.
Uh, the crazy thing about that whole show was literally Martin messaged me in like the middle of the night. Uh, like he saw I was on Discord or something, and he was like, "Do you want to do a Discord call and just talk about like Smash and life and stuff?" And I was like, "Yeah. Do you care if I stream it?" And he was like, "No." And then I posted on Facebook page, just like literally advertised it as like because I didn't have any other context. Quigs and Martin talk for about an hour.
That's alright.
It
Let's
was
have a
about
name. Sorry.
it was a falcon about to falcon punch a sleeping like missed rest Jigglypuff, and
Yeah,
then
I remember that. You just like paused on the screen or something.
yeah, and
I remember that.
put it in MS Paint and like wrote over it, and like that was the poster. It's so it's like bad, but also like kind of charmingly bad. Like it was endearing. Like, oh, this is kind of funny,
Yeah.
and it took off. And I like doing it. And there's a lot of Smash players to talk to, and with some exceptions, almost all of them. It's nice because you have a built-in narrative, right? Like if I ask some random guy on the street like random questions, it can it might not be interesting. But if you play Smash, I know I can ask about certain things, and there's going to be answers like, "How'd you get your tag? Where'd you start playing? Have you played other characters?" So it's like it's got like a built-in kind of
Right.
format.
And I think everyone has a unique story that's can be interesting even to a casual viewer, right? Because like while everyone's story is unique, you can also relate to like things that people say, especially if you play Smash yourself, right? Like you hear about people's first time going to a tournament and like what they were thinking, their emotions, and people relate to stuff like that. So I think that also helps a lot.
Yeah,
Um,
a bonus to that, by the way, is that like, and I didn't think about this until I talked to maybe like the fourth or fifth or even like 10th person was like, even if we don't talk about Smash, if you're the kind of person that plays Smash, I respect you, and I think you have like a valid like worldview because you play this game that I love, right? So it's like
right,
if you play this game that I love, there's a very, very reasonable chance that the other things you like, I also like. Like we probably have a lot of similar interests because if you like Melee, you probably appreciate other not always, but usually you appreciate like the same kind of music, the same kind of movies. Uh Probably have a similar sense of humor. Like I don't know why. It's just like if you've been playing this game for like 4 years, you probably have similar taste or what I mean? Like that's what I found anyway. Was like, oh,
hmm
I didn't know I'd have similar taste as like Fonz. You guys know Fonz from
yeah,
Madison?
Fonz is on.
Super homie. I don't know anything about that kid, but I bet we could talk for 3 hours and not get bored because
Right.
we have enough in common.
Yeah, I remember you like talked to this. Who's that? He was like an ultimate wolf that I'd never heard of. Um,
uh, he changed his tag, but at the time it was Neku, correct?
yeah, that's
Yeah,
it.
now it's like Raizu or something, or Rizu.
Yeah, and I was like, I don't think Quigs and or yeah, either me or Quigs know who this is, but Quigs was able to talk to them for like 3 hours. That's pretty funny.
Most people I've found want to talk, like with some exceptions. You know, you
Mhm.
don't really get the chance as a normal person to be interviewed. Like it's not a thing that happens in real
Right.
life. I don't mean like a job interview. I mean like an
Life
actual someone
interview. Yeah.
interested in yeah, like interested in your life kind of interview. And but we all know the format. Like everybody's watched a talk show. We've all heard an interview. So like we know what you're supposed to say, and so everyone's like aware of what it is, but no one gets asked like, you know what I mean? How often have you ever been asked to like talk about your life for 2 hours? It's cool because once you get the ball rolling, it just kind of flows out of people. You know, it's great. At
Hmm.
least in my experience. Some people are shitty at it, and that's not their fault. But like most people are pretty good at it, and are really funny. And I don't know. I've heard so many different versions of "So how did you get your tag?" and a lot of them are really really funny. And like,
Right.
it's not something you think about once you make that decision. So then, like 6 years later, you're telling some random dude, and it's like, oh my god, that's hilarious. But
Right.
it never comes up, so it's cool.
Yeah. I was just thinking, I'm like, I'm gonna be starting up the Perfect Connection Net Play series again. Like maybe we could do some co-thing, Quigs, where you interview people that will end up entering the tournament.
You can get
And
him on
like,
commentary. He's good at that.
well, we could do that. I don't know how I feel about doing the Discord commentary thing because of the delay and everything. But
True.
um, I mean, I'd love to have Quigs, but I don't want to have the delay if possible. I know it's not a huge thing, but like I'm a perfectionist, I'm art major. But I was thinking, like, in theory, if you did bring the season 2 back, you could start interviewing people that will enter. I was also thinking about putting pot bonuses on the Perfect Connection. Not huge, but just something to get people, invested in playing.
One of the most fun shows I ever did was the pre-Arcadian hype stream. That was
Right, I
with
remember that
Slogs. That
one.
was so fun. That was so great, and like it was just like lightning in a bottle. Like everybody was on fire. Everybody that we talked to was great, and like you and Books had like an agenda, so like it was like a focused like thing, but it was also really funny. And I had never had a co-host before, and it was really good. Like if I was ever gonna do the show again with a co-host, it's really nice to have another player who's been around a long time, but not in the same scene because like Slogs has a whole different kind of set of memories and like
Right.
experience. It covers a lot of it like covers a wide net. Um, that was such a fun show. The pre-Arcadian show is so good. I don't even know if it ever made it to YouTube. And maybe after the DMC thing, I remember when the DMCA thing happened, I just deleted all my VODs, thinking, well, they're probably all on YouTube. I don't know if that one ever made it, but it was really good. It was really fun. I'd be down to do something like that for the
Perfect
show again.
connection.
For the perfect connection again.
Right, like the pre. Yeah. Because like the nice thing about the Perfect Connection is like it's 2 years old now. Like we started it in the summer of 2018, and like obviously hasn't been consistent, but people know about it. And it's like a big deal, and like we make sure they're well run and everything. So I think it could get people hyped. And right now the only Wisconsin thing is like the Matrix, which is kind of jank because it's like at 5 p.m. on like a Monday, and it's like Swiss pool, waterfall, all this stuff. And it seems a little bit more PM centric, or like people they like care a lot. Like this would just be a melee tournament, clean cut. People know what to expect. Like bring in good talent. It'll be good. So that's the goal. I just need to actually sit down and plan it out, which I'm still trying to figure out because the way we've always done it is Henry and I were basically in my basement together. I set up my computer, we set everything up. He runs the bracket, I run the stream and all the extra bullshit that goes on, and then we commentate sets together in person. So we'll see how that works with COVID and everything. But
I mean, this is probably going to sound like stupid out loud, but I feel like we could run a fire tournament if we teamed up
oh yeah,
in terms of presentation, yeah,
oh yeah,
because
definitely,
you just you just add a third party in, and that's just like to cover all the. You just
right.
have that way. You have like another set of hands and like another person who's like
Yeah, like the
they're in and out
Arcadian was
before you
amazing,
go.
but it definitely wasn't like it was amazing because of the people we had. Like did a good job. Like Tommy did a good job with the photos. Ewan did a great job doing the front desk TO stuff. Books and I handled, all the extra resource bullshit things that we had to get done. Like Charlie did a great job with the stream. It just made the event so sick. Like,
Ewan definitely gives me TO vibes.
oh yeah,
I don't know
Ewan's a
why.
very bureaucratic kind of person. Like he's down to just be in the spreadsheets, like in the trenches of that shit.
Yeah.
That's like his thing. So he works really well and like he's a good friend of mine. So nice thing about Ewan is he's mature. Like I can trust him with like to do any task. Like I know he'll do a good job. I know he'll like present well, know what he's doing, know what the right and wrong decisions are, and like knock it out of the park.
I'm excited to hang with Ewan when he comes back.
Yeah, well, we got to play board games, dude. Like you haven't even seen the board game side of like our stuff that we did.
Mm-hmm.
I got super spoiled when I was running Big Blue because Mike wanted to run PM. He wanted to do it. He's like, give me a laptop. I will run the bracket. I will make sure games happen. I will make sure it runs on time. He's like gung ho for PM. Forrest was the same way about Smash 4. He was like, I love Smash 4. I can't wait to play
Is that
I can't wait to watch Smash 4.
is that the guy who ran the Green Bay stuff?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
He was like,
oh
I
yeah,
love Smash 4, and it was, and I love Melee. So it was this great like three-headed beast of like, I don't give a fuck about PM and Smash 4 in terms of running them, right? Like I don't know how to seed them. I don't know who's good and who's not. I don't know who's I can trust to bring a good setup every week. But I do know all those things about Melee. And so Mike just kind of I would bring my laptop and give it to him every week, and he would run PM. And Forrest brought a fucking arsenal of equipment and ran and streamed Smash 4, and it was great. I lucked out super hard. Uh, if like I never got any complaints really about the Melee brackets. The only complaints I ever heard were about like Smash 4 from they were just bigger and harder to run, and like not everybody knew like how to look for matches and stuff. Like there's a really tilting thing. It's people who had never been at a tournament before would come, and they'd be like, okay, you play Jeff or whatever, and then rather than look for Jeff, they would just like play friendlies and like sit there, just like, oh, you guys, this is making my life hell. I hate it.
right.
But then like Forrest, he like kind of took the reins at his. I was like, I don't want to run Smash 4. He's like, let me run Smash 4. He ran it. Mike ran PM. I ran Melee. And I love that if you have it's like TLing is so terrible if you're the only person doing it. And as soon as you add in like another pair of hands, it just becomes so much easier. It's just like, oh, I could even learn to like this. If I only ran Melee every week, didn't deal with Smash 4, didn't deal with PM, I'd still be running those tournaments, man. The Melee tournaments were fun. It's just I don't care about 2/3 of the game, so it's like why put myself through that? But yeah, it sounds like you got an actual crew of people that are like
Yeah,
trustworthy.
we had like, I mean, there's definitely a lot of planning that was involved. Like, it's not like it just magically came together, but like, it was definitely a multi-man job. Like, none of us could have really done it on our own. But I feel like it's like when you run a tournament, like it's like a engine. You want to make like an efficient machine, and that's basically what we were able to do. Like at a certain point, tournaments run themselves. In a sense, you just have to like put the pieces in place, right? Like smashers are responsible enough to come up to the TO desk and ask who their person is that they play. You project a bracket on TV. If you remember, the Arcadian had the brackets on the TVs or on the TV, and then that way people just came up. They didn't have to like interrupt the TO who's like registering someone. They could just look on the bracket. Oh, that's who I have. And they'll be like, hey, who is Jish? And it's like it's that white pale guy over there. It's like, all right, cool. And then they did their, it's how simple it was. So
who's Aramax? If you wait 3 seconds, you'll hear him.
the loudest guy in the venue, that's what you're playing. You see Dickie, look for discount that guy. That's Arama.
Where's Kendrick?
I was just thinking,
find the funniest T-shirt in the venue. It's probably Kendrick.
Yeah, I was just thinking, fucking next summer, so 2021 summer, assuming COVID is over or getting over, and we can actually have a Arcadian in like July or August again. There's going to be so many young grinders from the Slippy era, Like, holy shit. It'll be interesting as hell to have an Arcadian to see what happens.
My only request is, and I'll submit it early. I want to do teams commentary with Joey. 'Cause
Yeah, we can do that. I'll give you guys priority. If you want top 8, as long as
no.
you're.
Give us pools. No, you can give it. I feel like the only thing like one of the only things left to evolve in the Wisconsin Melee, Wisconsin PM or whatever scenes, even probably Smash 4 and Ultimate, but I couldn't tell you. I feel like nobody does commentary except for as like a lark. Like no one takes it seriously. That's like the
Right.
one thing that I am envious of Illinois about.
Mm-hmm.
Like I feel like the states are relatively similar. Chicago's something to aspire to, and one of the things that I wish that we took seriously as a community was commentary. But all that really happens is people just get knocked out of bracket and then like go on the mic and kind of,
Fuck
you know,
around.
sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad, but nobody really grinds it. And like
Mm-hmm.
we have sick TOs, we have sick teams players, we have sick singles players, and a lot of passionate people. But it can't just be me. There's got to be one other person who's grinding
Right,
kind
that's
of.
the issue. You need like the guy who's like always gonna be down and who is a good compliment to you, right?
Ideally, but even
Seal
if it wasn't
wasn't
me,
bad.
no, I like
I
commentary.
thought Seal did a decent job.
He took it seriously. I really appreciate
Yeah,
that he was like my encyclopedia. I wouldn't know things. Seal knows things. You need that guy because I am dumb. Like I can yell and get hype, but I need to
right.
actually know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
he was definitely the analytical guy, which worked well.
If you watch the Invincible Five, like top 4, or top 6, or maybe even top 8, those are all me and Seal. I think all those commentary matches are great. I think they're all good, and like I don't know. I wish there was more commentary people who took it seriously and like their
Trill's a
goal.
good commentary guy. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, he's my go-to actually. He's
Mm-hmm.
literally my favorite person to do commentary with. I
Right.
don't know if he would say the same thing about me, but I'm certainly in his top 3.
Yeah, he
Just
probably
'cause,
wouldn't.
like, yeah, Trill gave me the nicest compliment ever. You want to hear it? He said, "I have never had more fun. Like I've never like usually when he's doing commentary, he wishes he was playing." And he said, "I've never had more fun doing commentary than when we did commentary for that crew battle that Minnesota won."
Mm-hmm.
And then he quickly added, "And I'm not just saying that because we won, because Minnesota won that battle," which
He
I
was bad, man.
remember.
Yeah.
It's funny. I didn't realize that the year before the reason Wisconsin won was almost the exact same scenario, except Martin hit the rest.
Yeah,
I
no,
didn't
it literally came down to that rest again, which is really funny.
best of
He
3.
just
We got
didn't
to
hit
run
it
it
the
back.
second.
We got to run it back, boys. We got to run it back.
It'll be different, dude. Like again, the whole COVID thing. Like I really can't project how the scene is gonna be. I think Henry. There's a chance Henry gets number 1 actually. Like not saying that as a homer, but like legitimately, he plays way more than Danny. I think Martin will start falling off. Um, and like Danny will definitely still be around. I could see Henry surpassing him though, and I don't see who's gonna catch up. To be honest, currently. Big DK will still be around, so it'll be good. But yeah, it'll be very interesting to see how things shake up.
You know, I've been saying it for years, for probably a full calendar year now. I fully expect, like with an actual scene in Madison, if he feels like it, I think Joey could get really good. Because for so long we were
That
playing with
was.
like
I was
we
not
were playing
expecting that. Thank you.
we were playing with like nothing. We were playing with like nobody. We had such a struggle scene here, and I was like, man, if Joey just had like more good players to like practice with and in effect kick his ass and then adapt to, he'd get so good.
I
And
think Joey actually has gotten a lot better since he moved here. Like just
Yeah,
from playing Madison people,
especially against Fox, like
right?
night and day. Yeah.
I mean, considering how much Joey's played against Henry and I in my basement for like 4 hours straight, just getting irate of getting shine again, it's definitely helped him, pushed him forward. I think a lot. Like I've been getting
yeah,
better against Falco because of Joey. So
And I remember we talked about it before Joey moved. I was like, dude, you're gonna get so good. Like, not even wishful. Like, you're gonna have to get good because they're good. Like,
Yeah.
they're good. And so it's like whether you want to or not, you'll probably get good. But if you want to get really good, you can probably get really good. And Joey's like, yeah, it's gonna be sick. And I'm not surprised at all. They're like, oh, who knew? Playing better people, you get better. Fucking shocker.
Imagine.
Imagine.
Oh yeah, I do think Braden will actually be pretty good after quarantine because he's been keeping up with the game. Squizzage, I think he'll probably be top 5. Like I could see him at like 5th or something on the PR.
Dang.
I hope. I hope. I hope that like when he needs to, like when he can. I hope that Kendrick takes the game a little more seriously because I think he has such crazy potential. It's insane. I think he could be so scary. He could be
Mm-hmm.
so much better than he is, and I think he's playing the game in a way where like he knows he's pretty good, so he can kind of just play for fun and like But I think if he like you know
Yeah,
took it super
Kendrick's really good.
he could be so scary. And I don't want him to play the game in a way he doesn't like. I just mean I wish that he was I would love to see a world where Kendrick's our best player. Like I would not be mad at all. That'd be really great if he was just just destroying all the spacies. That'd be a world I'd be
Right.
happy.
I think Kendrick, I've noticed he's always had a really just solid understanding of the game. I think it just comes naturally to him. So I kind of see where you're coming from. Like it's just like, does he actually care enough to like really put in the effort to get really good? You know.
Yeah,
I mean, and then there's also, there are the people on the come up, like Burning Cactus cares a fuck ton. He's getting better, dude.
I
Like,
gotta
I think
play
I
that
already
guy.
playing him today.
You keep saying how good he is.
Fats is good. Kids is getting better. Like, there's the young players who are on the come up as well.
dude, I genuinely wish that like Tyler's body wasn't like killing him because Lamont has his potential is
Dude,
enormous.
he's nuts, man. Like
It's
every
so
time I
good.
play him, he's like like I'll play him and I'll barely win over him, and then I won't play him for a while and I'll get a lot better, and then I'll play him again and then he's like beating me. It's like how not only is he keeping up, he's like improving like at such a crazy rate. That's been happening for years now. It's
The kid
insane.
is just good at Smash, and
Yeah.
he's
yeah,
not.
I'm pretty sure I've only ever played him in like teams with uh, Lennox. So
Yeah,
I don't really have much of a perspective on him. But
I
I'll
mean,
believe what you get.
I think the glowing review that like I will tell you is, I think both Kendrick and Hunger at a local were like, holy cow, this kid's gonna be so scary in like a year. And that was like last year. This is pre-COVID times
He's
because
super technical. Yeah.
he went to like last stock with both of them, and neither of them had ever like heard of him before. Like literally, he just like came out of his house, went to a local, and like almost beat Hunger and Kendrick at a local. And we knew about him. Me and Joey know about him, but most people don't know about him. He's just a really solid, really good fox, and he's literally always improving. Like it even feels like within the hour. Like it's just crazy sometimes. He's so good, and he's super nice, and he's like super super
Maybe I should
sweet.
play him on Slippy. Now you're getting me excited. I'm like, I want to play this guy. I want to see if he's
Yeah,
legit.
dude.
See it.
Yeah, dude.
He's
I
fucking
like
good. Yeah.
I like playing people. I usually can tell. It's like if I play someone, it's like, all right, this guy's gonna be really good. Or it's like, I think this guy's a gimmick. Or like, I don't know about this guy.
He's also like one of the most competitive people I think I've ever met too. He like does not want to lose.
Interesting. That's good. That's what you
Yeah.
want.
It's
Awesome.
like most of the time that I meet people that are really competitive, it's to the detriment of like their sociability or to their like they've put this game ahead of other things in their life. I genuinely think that he's got like the right blend of like I really want to be good at melee, but I'm also not going to be an asshole. Like I'm going to be a nice person.
Right.
Uh, which is not a given in the 20XX net play era.
Oh
That is
yeah,
not
definitely.
so it's a nice to be like, oh, that guy's real. Usually, I would say almost more than average. If someone's really good at the game, they're probably not super social, And I don't mean like wants to talk. I just mean like able to hold a conversation. Looks normal, you know what I mean? Like you can almost tell based on their body language which players at a tournament are really good because they're really weird people, and so it's
I
always
think
refreshing.
I think
You
that's
know,
true to some degree, but like Henry's not that weird. Like Henry's a goober, but like he talks like he can talk to anybody,
yeah.
Looking normal,
Martin,
Like
but he
I
can.
can see like Martin and like Danny are like Danny's really quiet. Martin's kind of weird, but like Big DK is super home. I don't know if you've talked to Big DK much, Quigs, but like Big DK is a super fucking homie.
Sir, when I switched to Sheik, I messaged him on Facebook and I was like, "Will
Oh
you
yeah,
coach me?"
that's
and then
right.
I also and then I also messaged Truff Stuff, and I got really good really fast. Like I got within like a month, I had a significant improvement, which fucking shocker. Who knew? Asking people to play the character better than you to help you is, but yeah, I agree. Super normal guy, super nice guy, super good at the game.
Super
Which is
normal guy.
He's like just like a stoner, like chilled, like just smart, like very calm kind of guy.
I
I
get
think the
Ryan
bar
Smith
that
vibes from him.
I think the bar that we all like would love to be, is like, well, I don't know about you guys, but for me personally, the fact that like when I see Zane and he's not like a stereotypical like nerd, but he's also the greatest melee player on the earth right now. Like that's something to aspire to. And I don't mean that to shit on Mewtwo King or Armada or anything like that. But like you kind of expect the best player in the world to be a little off center, a little bit weird. So it's cool to be like, oh yeah, you can be normal and also crazy good at this game. Like that's
Dude, I think
I would love.
that's Melee is like an anomaly in that way. I almost feel like the top like 1% of Melee players are also chill.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of who the like. It's probably Mewtwo King, best player who's also like definitely a gamer. It's like hard to tell. Uh, but yeah, I agree. It's like an anomaly. It's weird. You almost expect the best player of a game in the world to be super super nerdy, but it's like nah, you could be normal and still be really good at melee,
Being
or
a
at least. Exactly. In 20 years, we're all of our top 10 players are going to be turbo chads, just like ripped dudes with
I don't know
sunglasses.
about. I think Slippy might change that though.
Yeah, I agree. See, because that's the thing about Melee is like before Slippy, you had to actually go to fucking tournaments and like be social, and you learn like how to interact to get for the people who got good, right? Because it was hard to get good online only. Now, what Joey's saying, you can get good online without going anywhere. So you're gonna have some fucking basement dwellers who are just insane at the game.
So,
You know what?
you just put so much emphasis on basement dwellers.
These people fucking haven't seen the sun in 4 years. Fucking took
They're
a
just
shower
fucking pale as can be.
last like month they took a shower. Like those people are gonna be insane. Gonna coked at the game.
I'll tell you right now, boys, I had an idea in my head, which is like, why don't we just do this more often, where we just shoot the shit about the game?
I'm
Talk
down.
about the game as a fun.
For fun. I haven't talked about melee in a while, like on mic with a person, but not doing something else. Because usually when you talk about melee, you're playing melee. But like this is a whole different like. This is some Magoo into 6-4, but like the Buster version of that.
Yeah.
This is Ganon and the 8-1 or whatever. That doesn't even add up to 10.
I think it would work, but we would need top like I feel like there need to be some organization because I think like I mean you can talk about melee, right? But like it might get stale, right? Because we kind of went through a lot of topics. And it's like we can't just talk every time about how will Wisconsin be post pandemic and like that kind of stuff. You could talk about, the
I mean, if you
current
just
scene.
theoretically keep generating topics forever, then
Right.
it could work. Which I think at least you guys are really good at.
I'm just saying, I think we got a good thing going here, boys. And
Yeah,
in these dark times, we need to create content.
true.
That's not true at all. But
Well, no, I mean, I was talking to Henry about this the other day. Like, melee content, I mean, it's not awful, but I do think it's kind of past its prime. Like, I feel like the best time was like the 2016, 2017 era when like there were like a lot of new videos coming out of how to do things. Like, people were really getting excited about the narratives of the game and all that. And not to say that it doesn't exist now. Obviously, there's still stuff, but like GR Smash is recycling stuff from like fucking 5 years ago that he's still putting in new videos. Like some of the stuff, I think there could be a little bit more melee content creation to keep people interested in some of the timelines and things that are going on, other than just fucking save as untitled and those people, if that makes sense.
I think there's a place in the community that Ludwig and Slime used to fill, which doesn't exist anymore, which is people that are bad at the game objectively, like not top 100, talking about this game that they love. Because right now, all the content is pretty much video essays or top players talking to top players, and that's fine. But I really do miss the Bad Melee podcast, and I miss the. I'm not going to shit on Scar and Toph, but part of the appeal of the Scar and Toph show was that when they played with like heart, man. They weren't top 50, they weren't top 100, but they still loved the game. So it was like, I don't know. I miss the Scar and Toph show, the old school Scar and Toph show. Nothing against the Reeds. The Reeds is fine, but I miss the Scar and Toph show. That was mine.
Right. No, I know exactly. Well, the thing about the Scar and Toph show, at least that appealed to me, was like you got insight on like behind the scenes, because you see stuff on stream, but they would tell you like stories of like the old days and stories of like what they did in the hotel room at like Apex, like that kind of stuff. And they were good at telling stories, so it was just interesting, and it felt like you got to know more either about them or about some other player, or hearing their opinion on specific things that they wouldn't necessarily say on the casting booth. Blair rants for 3 hours. Dude, I actually like Commentator's Curse. I liked when Blair would just go off about some topic.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
He had good, like, I know we meme about Blair, but like, Blair I don't think was a bad commentator. And I think he actually had some solid ideas on things.
Go to hear the
I'm
quiz
not
review.
saying everything he said was the gospel, but he definitely had good ideas, and he like gurgitated out things that matter that people hadn't considered. Like, how are we going to convert? Like, what are we going to do when the CRTs run out, right? We're eventually going to have to go to monitors. Like, how are we going to get that done? We can't just do this forever. And then before UCF, it's like, what are we going to do about controllers? We're running out of good controllers here. They just get more and more expensive. Nintendo's not going to always make controllers. We were lucky with Ultimate that they gave it GameCube support, which is crazy that a 20-year-old console is getting fucking support to play on a Switch at all.
Mm-hmm.
So like, those are things to consider and think about. That I liked about Blair's what do you call it, Commentator's Curse podcast that he did with himself.
I also think that it was a great pairing because Taffikins is almost overly analytical and Crimson Blur is almost overly passionate, and they sort of make a perfect dream team because he's so much heart and Tafo's so much brain, and it's like perfect. It's awesome. And Scar and Toph have a very similar vibe. Scar he will wear his emotions on his sleeves, and Toph is much more like reserved. And I think that that's super important. And I actually think, in a way, that maybe that's why the best teams are the way they are. I mean, I think of Redacted and Prague. That is a very hype guy and a more reserved guy.
Mm-hmm. And
that was my favorite commentator duo when I started. I was so excited. Whenever I watched Top 8, if it was fucking D1 in Prague, I was like, okay, this is going to be a good Top 8.
I don't know if they aged very well, though. Like, if you go back and watch it, like, the commentary is not great.
It was what I needed when I was also bad at the game. It was when I didn't know anything. It was fun, And course you move on. I'm sure you're right. I think you're totally right. I don't want to put myself through it because it'll just be kind of shitty. But like, I bet you're right. If I go back and watch, I bet it's not as great as I thought it was. But at the
Right.
time, it was. Yeah.
No, I was the same way, especially when I was like younger into the scene. Because like, I came in 2013, right when they were kind of getting into their prime, which was 2014. And like, I really enjoyed it too. But as they were going on, I started getting a little exhausted of it, and that was when Scar and Toph started becoming like my favorite duo. But regardless of like if it aged well, they definitely had a huge impact on like I think that generation of players. And I do think it kind of is what Quigs was saying. You have the hype man with the more calm, collected, which made it work
I think
well.
Toph and Lovage is my new favorite duo.
Love
Probably.
it. I think Lovage is like a great flex. He can go with like anybody. Kind of chillin' as well, actually. I used to not be a huge chillin' fan on commentary. I think chillin', if he goes with like, because he seems super homey with like everyone, so it's very like natural chemistry. Who he's
I like
commentating with.
Vish as well. Vish is underrated as a
I
commentator.
forgot about Vish.
Yeah, because he hasn't been around recently.
Yeah.
Vish is another. Yeah, he's like a homie. He needs to go with the right guy, I think. But like, I enjoyed.
Yeah, yeah. He's like a mini Lovage in that way, right? Like he can almost
Right.
do everything, and Lovage can literally do everything. Vish can almost do everything. Believe it or not, I think even though we sing his praises every minute of every day, people still don't realize how good Brandon is at commentary. He is
Right.
he's so
Honestly,
good.
Phil and Waffles are amazing commentators. Like, in my opinion, they're amazing commentators. I know some people don't like it. They want the more analytical, but I feel like they have the perfect blend of like they talk about the game, they make fun of things if they're happening. They both have amazing chemistry, and they're like smart, you know.
Me and
So
Joey went to 3 Smash Ultimate tournaments, and I swear to God, we just put on our homemade waffles and Phil hats, and just we did commentary, but it was to make ourselves happy. Like we were talking about the game, we would give props to the players. We were focused, but at the same time, we were having a good time. Like we were having a
Yeah.
good time as commentators, and we were covering the games. And I've gone back and I've listened to those sets, by the way. Super super funny. Like
Oh, really? I
you
don't
have
even
to
know where
rip
to
'em out.
find them.
If you just type in like edge guard, like 4, 5, and 6, those were the 3 that we did. That's the name of the tournament, was edge guard. I swear to God, I'm not saying that we're as good as Waffles and Phil. No one's as good. Don't get me wrong. But in terms of the approach, like we didn't do a color commentary, play-by-play guy thing. We did a Waffles and Phil, 2 guys that are friends talking about a game they like, kind of approach, and then referencing things outside of the game.
We were kind of like what you were mentioning earlier about how there needs to be people dedicated to commentary and not necessarily playing. Because that's exactly what we were. Like, neither of us were going to enter that tournament, but we showed up every week and did it. Or at least for those few weeks.
Yeah, and I
Yeah.
think we did it better than the people that they had on before us. And I don't mean that to shit on them. I just mean you do have a different. I don't know, if you're taking commentary seriously, because you're not taking the game as seriously as a competitor, you're gonna be better at commentary. I mean, it's a
right.
shame that it happens, but people who are good players usually, they make good commentators, but only after they're kind of peaked with the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little unfortunate though that like if you're a really good commentator, it probably means that you're past your prime at the game, which sucks. Most people don't want to do it. They'd rather just keep grinding. I think Phil went back to grinding. I
Yeah.
understand. I totally get it. But I love commentary and I'm kind of done with grinding. So it's like,
I mean, I don't think everyone who is like does commentary past like I do agree that most are past their prime. I don't think everyone necessarily is sad about that. Like Scar has a child, he knows he couldn't like continue competing in the game full time, right? Like I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And I think especially as like we cycle in new players and old ones stop competing as much, having them trying to keep them around as commentators could be super useful in the local scene itself. Like I think of John Money as a good example. Like I'm pretty sure John's done competing. He was already kind of falling out, and now with COVID, like I mean, I haven't seen him enter any net play tournament. I don't think he's playing like slipping much at all. He has like a girlfriend. I always see him, pictures of them on Facebook and shit. Like I'm pretty sure he's done with Melee, and that's fine. He's like, I think he's like 27. He's been competing since before even I entered the scene. I think he started in like 2011 or something. So he had a good run. It would be cool if we could keep him around for commentary purposes. But I know
You're talking about Fendi?
I'm talking about
John Money.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, I guess part of the issue is with like our tournaments, it's like I don't think many people would travel just to commentate. And not to say you can't enter or whatever, but it's hard. Like Wisconsin fucking is huge and it takes forever to go to tournaments. It's like a whole day commitment, can be tiring.
Actually, that's a good point. I have to say, the secret to getting good at the game is either to live in an area that's got a good scene or to not hate traveling. Those are your choices because
Right.
you either live in Madison or you get really used to driving 2.5 hours to get there.
Right.
I mean, I feel like firsthand witnessed the kind of bloom of like Smash interest in at least the Fox Valley scene when Smash 4 came out, and then just watched it like slowly go away and get centralized into Milwaukee, Madison. It's like, oh shit, like it never used to be this way, I never used to have to travel 2 hours away to like even play this game, but eventually it did get there.
Right.
That's for playing. Like you can't really ask people to do that just for commentary. I mean, you could enter too, but I think I'm the only person who's willing to like travel 5 hours to Minnesota to commentate just pools. Like that's
right, yeah.
That's not normal.
That's some Quigs shit, yeah.
Yeah, that's some Quigs shit, and you can't expect that from people. But it's like, I wish some people would take the commentary side more seriously. I think the commentary side is actually low key way easier and also way harder than people ever think it is. Like, you kind of have to be naturally good at it, but if you are, it's super easy. But it's also like with a little bit of effort, you can get really good at it. You know what I mean? It goes back and forth. It's hard to be good at, but once you're good at it, it's easy to get a little bit better into that.
I also think it is one of the most important things for like locals that actually do stream, like in growing locals. Because I think of like back in like 2014. I know I sound like a boomer bringing up like 2014, but this was like the platinum era of Melee at the time, right? I remember I would just like watch locals on like random ass streams, but like enough people did commentary that like it kept a young new player like myself interested. But like nowadays, you go to locals, you click on a local, no one's fucking even commentating. It's just like game. And it's hard for, semi-casual people to actually get into the game and learn it. Like you don't want to understate how important commentary actually is, but it's got to be good commentary, not no bullshit like the LCS that got Joey banned from Ludwig's chat. Kind of commentary.
Yeah.
So. What happened? You got banned from Ludwig's chat?
Oh, do you not know?
You probably told me, but I forget.
Yeah, I'm banned in Ludwig's chat because during LACS they had these 3 dudes on a couch somewhere that I didn't know who were commentating, and they were being like obnoxious as fuck and really bad. And basically when their block ended, I just typed "thank God" in the stream chat, and then I got banned by Slime.
All right. It's probably a homie of Slimes, I understand.
Yeah.
But also really, really funny.
All I said was "thank God," and there was like 30,000 people.
Which is insane that they even caught it and like assumed it was about that and just
Slime has actually, I don't know if you guys ever watch his Twitch channel, but he's really funny, and he has said that sometimes, since he is a mod in Ludwig's channel, he will just.
Well, yeah, I know. That's why I know it was him.
Yeah, he'll just pick people out of the lineup just for pretty much nothing, just because. There's, like you say, there's 30,000 people here. Who's going to notice if he just bans like 7 real quick for no real reason?
And they can get unbanned. It keeps the content alive too. Like Joey could fill up the unbanned form and probably get unbanned pretty easily.
Absolutely. especially because they're gonna look back through your messages in chat, see it, and be like, "Oh, that was Slime flexing on some kid," which is pretty funny.
Yeah.
You know,
But it's
you don't
funny that
feel
I'm
bad.
banned. I kind of
It's,
like
it's
that.
funny
funny
that
to bring up. That's why I
Yeah.
like saying.
Yeah, it's funny that you're banned, and it's also if you're gonna be banned in the chat, at least that one's who even cares. You know?
Yeah, he has the chat on screen most of the time anyway.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Right. Cool. All right. Well, I'm gonna go to bed because I'm very tired.
Yeah, I think we
But
can
it was
call
nice
it.
talking to you guys. We should definitely try and maybe do it again sometime.
You guys are like my ultra homies. Just wanted to say that. So it was cool to hang out.
Yeah, get some boys together.
Yeah.
But have a good night, everyone.
Yep. Later.